Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, How Digital Forms Save Behavioral Health Practices Time and Money. Let's get started. We got a few things to talk about today, and fortunately, I have Kevin Palmer, Solutions Architect at Mend, to talk us through digital forms. So I'm excited to have Kevin with us. We have a full agenda. Today, we're going to be going over why digital forms, why are they important, why are they going to help your behavioral health organization out. We're going to go over also the key components of digital forms, how digital forms improve patient engagement, and finally go through a question and answer portion. As we go through today's webinar, we want as many questions to come through as possible. So please utilize Zoom's fancy Q&A box. It should be found at the bottom of your menu. We'll capture them all and then we'll go over them at the end of today's webinar. So let's start off with something that should be pretty obvious, but it might not necessarily be something that's readily available or readily used right now. So paper forms are a major pain point for patients. They traditionally bring it up when it comes to things that they are most dissatisfied by. And so leveraging digital forms solves this problem, not just for patients, but also for providers in a variety of ways. Digital forms are easy to use. They're secure. They not only save the patient time, but more importantly, they're going to save staff time dealing with manual import of paper forms. So all of these things, including also it's a leading indicator of patient engagement, is a key reason why digital forms are often utilized, and the financial impact when it comes to not utilizing something like digital forms that will often lead to no-shows if they're not being engaged with. Patient engagement and no-show rates, we know that they're a big problem for healthcare, but they're an especially large problem for behavioral health specialties. If we're looking at an organization with 25 providers as an example, the one on the left, if you're basing an average patient no-show rate of 37%, the loss of revenue can quickly rack up to $4 million per year, or $350,000 per month. But this isn't just a problem for large organizations. This can also be a problem for, sorry, I just was told that the screen wasn't being shared, so I apologize. Let's there we go. I apologize for that. So we were going over, let's back up real quick. We were going over digital forms. So we established already that they're easy to use, they're secure, they're a time saver, and they're a leading indicator of patient engagement. So when you're talking about patient engagement, one key component is patient no-shows. So for financial impact of no-shows, an organization with 25 providers, that basing an average patient no-show rate of 37% can lead to a loss of revenue of up to $4 million per year. But even for smaller practice groups, let's say a practice group with 5 providers, the loss of revenue can be still extremely impactful to the bottom line. This could be up to $800,000 per year or $70,000 per month, utilizing that same 37% no-show rate. are just two examples. We know that every organization is going to be different in terms of how many providers the organization has, what is the no-show rate, what is the average number of patients each provider sees. So we do have a ROI calculator that everyone can utilize. If you go to men.com/ROI-calculator, you'll get taken to this fancy calculator where you can put in your number of providers, your current no-show rate, what the current revenue per visit is, your daily visits per provider, and come up with what your specific ROI would be, or loss of revenue would be, if you weren't utilizing a complete and holistic platform that leverages things like digital forms. Digital forms do take a lot of different, are presented in a lot of different ways. So with that, we have Kevin, who's going to show us how to, all the different ways that this is done. So let's take it over with Kevin. So Kevin.
Hi, and thanks for joining today. My name is Kevin Palmer, and I'm a solutions architect with Mend. Today, we will be covering Mend digital forms and how they can be used in behavioral health setting to streamline your administrative workflows and improve your patient satisfaction. In comparison to other specialties, behavioral health practices traditionally have patients complete more paperwork on an annual basis. This paperwork burden can grow significantly when state or program-specific grant funding is included into the mix. Not only must this paperwork be completed by the patient, but it must potentially be handled by administrative staff several times before it ends up as part of the patient's chart. Depending on your EMR, Mend can support everything from just collecting the digital forms on our platform to having forms data update the patient's chart in yours. In a pre-COVID in-office environment, patients were asked to show up 15 to 30 minutes early for their appointments just to fill out intake forms, financial affidavits, and consents to a variety of policies. This process evolved somewhat to offer downloadable PDF forms that could be printed and completed at home before the visit. In its final evolution, we have Mend digital forms, providing the patient the opportunity to complete all required paperwork when it's most convenient to them and from the digital device of their choice. Mend helps to remove the technical barriers to forms completion, no user accounts required, just the one-time secure link and the patient's date of birth let them access the form. Due to our ease of use and forms design, over 60% of assigned forms are completed within the first hour. Mend digital forms fall into two broad categories: public forms and private forms. Public forms are anonymous, meaning whomever is filling them out doesn't need to be a current patient or a member of staff. Form links can be made available on your website, social media platform, or simply with a QR code on a flyer. Want an external referral form or a way to let a potential client request more information after a recent community event? This is your solution. Private forms are assigned to specific patients or staff member to complete. These will include your intake packets, policy consents, clinical assessments, and payment capture forms. Mend offers a variety of functionality and means to collect information in the most efficient manner possible on our digital forms. In this sample intake packet, we start off with collecting the patient's name and see an example of field validation rules. Besides making fields required, we can ensure proper formatting of phone numbers, email addresses, and social security numbers, all as a patient completes each question. Our forms design team can develop conditional logic workflows to ensure appropriate questions are asked, streamlining the patient experience. If we indicate the patient's a minor, it will prompt us for the guardian information. Often, you'll want the patient to attach files or photos as part of the intake process. Here, we add a copy of the patient's driver's license. Mend digital forms can also perform lookups against external databases, public or private. Pharmacy information, medications including common dosages, or any other third-party lookup that you're wanting can be leveraged on these forms. To round out options within this particular form, we offer single select, multi-select, and any other conditional logic questions that you're going to need. Here we look at one of our clinical assessment forms, the PHQ-2. What I would like to focus on here is our post-scoring logic. Based on the assessment score or an answer from a drop-down list, the MIN platform will automatically assign a follow-up form. In this case, a PHQ-9, without requiring any staff intervention. Leveraging this behavior can automate a variety of supplemental forms being delivered to the patient, ranging from the additional clinical tool to forms with embedded self-help videos. While inside the MIN platform, we can offer color coding and status alerts based on criteria set with our implementations team and form developers. Email alerts to the assigned provider are also available. Completed forms can be reviewed inside the MIN platform and are accessible from the provider dashboard, the assessment tab, or from inside the telemedicine visit, showing the score if applicable and all answers. The last sample form we'll look at today is our payment capture form. Mend leverages our partnership with Authorize.net to ensure all financial transactions are 100% PCI compliant. We offer payment method collection forms, ad hoc transaction forms for charges not associated with an individual visit. An example would be outstanding balance collection, and several workflows of processing charges during the appointment scheduling process. Mend understands that delivering a digital form for a patient to complete is the end of many potential administrative workflows. With this in mind, our platform has been designed to meet those needs. Individual forms or form packets can be assigned to appointments. Each time this appointment is scheduled, either directly in Mend or through an integration, the appropriate forms are automatically delivered to the patient. Sometimes, an additional form will need to be assigned to a patient for an upcoming appointment. Any staff member or provider here will be able to achieve this by opening the Actions menu from an upcoming appointment and selecting Assessment. A few quick options in case the form pertains to a ward or dependent, and then staff are presented with options to select the appropriate form, followed by a quick confirmation screen. Another common workflow requires a form to be sent out without an upcoming appointment. Once again, any staff member or provider can hit the plus button next to Assessments on the dashboard to start this process. A quick search for the patient and selecting if the form is for the patient or dependent will end in choosing the appropriate provider for the form to be directed to. From here, the same form selection process is available with a brief confirmation screen to ensure the correct patient and form have been chosen. My personal favorite and a true distinguishing feature of the Mend platform is our ability to assign forms to a patient during the telemedicine visit and push that form to their device to either assist the patient in completing the form or simply ensuring the information can be collected during the visit. By navigating to the patient dashboard, your staff member or provider can select the appropriate form and issue that to the patient. In case there's already an outstanding form of this same type, a warning will be displayed on the screen. Once the form is in the outstanding queue, staff are just a few short clicks away from opening the form for the patient to complete. Here we see the form being opened on the remote device for the patient to finish. While the patient is actively viewing the form, a small eye will appear beside the assessment name to let your staff know the current client status. Once a form is complete and available for you to review, your staff will also have the option to open the form on their screen while still in session with the patient.
Thanks, Kevin. So let's get back to our slides here and let's go through. We discussed right now, Kevin discussed, I should say, and he did a great job at it, all the different types of forms and how they can be leveraged. It's important to also note that Mend as a platform and as a company has really done a lot with digital forms over the past year. We hit a new milestone last year, completing our customers completing over 1 million digital forms. Of those forms, 60% of them were completed within the first hour. And the ones that were not completed within the first hour, most of those were completed within the first 24 hours, which again shows the importance of leveraging something like digital forms. The engagement rate is going to be higher than you can hope to achieve when it comes to paper forms. Also, from a completion rate, the rates were very high. 80 to 85% completion rate was shown as extremely common amongst organizations that utilize the MEND platform. And we were seeing that they could have even been higher if the organization utilized a standard operating procedure when it came to collecting the mobile number and email addresses, which is how these digital forms are often delivered. So digital forms, we understand, is a convenience, offers convenience, and offers also greater access of care to patients. So Kevin, if you could speak a little bit more to, we understand that digital forms offers this. Are there other things in terms of patient engagement that digital forms offers? And also, how does patient engagement really integrate with the MEND platform as a whole?
Absolutely, and thanks, Vlad. Digital forms is a component of patient engagement. It's important. Many times it's the first thing that a client has the opportunity to interact with. As you tie it together with the opportunity to fill out a form and making it convenient for the patient, you're covering across your visit types. You're able to offer them payment capture at home, wherever they are. So it's one less thing that they have to contend with on platforms. But just looking at it as a component of no-show, the forms, clients that engage with forms are significantly more likely to show up for their visit. So that's just a starting point. And when you're looking at 30+% no-show rate, the idea is to cut that in as many ways as possible. So streamline that for the patient, turn that around, make this product easier to use for staff. And then now you're seeing benefits on both sides, not only from the patient satisfaction and engagement side, but your staff are gaining time back, time that can be spent for patient care, time that can be spent for, working with getting those, the legacy people that are coming in. You always have them, that legacy group of no-shows. That's where that time can be repurposed. That's really where you start getting the gains.
And speaking of digital forms, I did want to also present to our audience a poll. So let's go through that real quick. And while everyone's answering this question, does your organization currently utilize digital forms? We'll move over also to the Q&A portion of our webinar. So we reach the end. We have a better understanding of digital forms, but we know that this there's just a lot to cover when it comes to digital forms. So if there's any questions that you may have, now's the opportunity to put it in the Q&A box at the bottom. We'll go through it as we start taking them in. And Kevin, looks like we got our first question, Kevin. So this is a good one. Are digital forms only useful for virtual visits, or can they also be used for in-person visits?
Excellent question. The ideal scenario is you can present a unified forms experience across all of your appointments. So since men can engage both in person and virtual visits, first off, your notifications are going to be unique. They're going to be consistent across the board, not only for appointment notifications, but now for forms as well. So instead of worrying about sending an intake packet or having patients come in early or have them sit in your lobby to do that same intake packet that your telemedicine clients can see, now you're going to be sending that out without the staff needing to engage, without staff needing to assign it. It's just going to be automatic. So once again, you're streamlining and getting those efficiencies.
Efficiencies is where it's at. I got another question for you, Kevin. Which form is most often converted to a digital form?
I would say the intake packet due to size. So it is by far the one group of forms that is most commonly brought up by patients in regards to, I hate filling them out. So if there's a form packet to streamline, that's the one to do. It's going to cover the broadest scope. It's going to give you the widest leverage of getting information back. And it'll make the patients the happiest on not needing to sit down and get carpal tunnel trying to fill it out in the office.
Nobody likes carpal tunnel. That's a good one. We have another question, Kevin. How can I leverage digital forms with my EMR?
So the MIN platform, fortunately, we're very flexible on how we can deliver digital forms to the client, collect them back, and then participate with each practice back to their host EMR. Some EMRs on the market today don't support any method of putting content live back into the platform. So for those, Mend is capable of operating in a standalone environment. We can do all of your patient engagement. We can send those forms out. We can get the clients to engage with them, get them to put the information on the form, and get those back into the system. Also on that, you're still able to leverage payment capture. So in that same standalone behavior, you're still going to be able to engage with those patients and still be able to collect. That's an important part. So that's at the base. Next step up are going to be some EMRs. I'd say about half of them on the market support being able to put documents back inside the host system. We're able to take those documents, drop them into the patient-specific document repository, and then you would be able to leverage that as any traditional PDF document from the chart. For the upper end EMRs that are out there, that's when we get into the discrete data. Every form element that we have, Mend can send back. It's all a matter of, does your EMR accept it? So from no connectivity back to live updates to your patient chart, and beyond that, if you're using any type of data repository, if you're leveraging BI, we can return every component from each of our forms as discrete data back to your host system to let you do the analytics on it that you need. So we can get really creative, fortunately, for our platform.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kevin. If I would to summarize that at the end, I would say Mend will play friendly with any EMR as long as they play friendly with us, right? We're willing to go above and beyond and customize. And I know that, Kevin, you're part of that team trying to ensure that we're delivering as much value as we can to our customers. And so thank you for that, Kevin. Kevin, it was a pleasure speaking with you today, covering digital forms. We know that this is not going to be everything that can be spoken about digital forms. If there are any specific questions as it relates to digital forms, how we can, as a Mend platform, can integrate better with your organization, help you integrate better with everything else, and be your digital front door, let us know. Contact us at mend.com/contact, or go to mend.com and click that get demo. And if Kevin is the man of the hour that day, I know that he would be there doing the demo, running through your custom use case scenarios. So thanks, Kevin, again for everything you do. And sorry for my dog there for a minute, but thanks everyone for joining, and have a great day.